DeMeco Ryans speaks on the offseason that has been, the offseason that could be ahead. He might have tipped his cap when it comes to draft plans. Plus, Texans sign another corner, and the POS is back on the scene. Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too plugged in daily.
All right, we got DeMeco Ryans speaking. Cody Stoots was on the scene at the owners' meetings, the king of the stream. My boy Cody Stoots. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along to the channel. Me and Cody got some draft plans for you too. So whether it's day one, whether it's day two, whatever, we got you covered. Little collab. We're going to lay out the details of that soon. DeMeco Ryans, let's just hop right into it. DeMeco Ryans spoke at the owners' meetings, and he had some interesting things to say about the moves that the Texans have made, the plans in the draft, etc. We will hear from DeMeco Ryans right now. Let's hear it. This was Cody Stoots with DeMeco Ryans.
Hunter, see the guys on defense. What do you think about you guys have done so far in free agency?
We're excited about the guys we've added up front. We wanted to get better on the defensive line. That was the emphasis for us. And it's not just one guy. It's multiple guys. So being able to add multiple guys who can move around and do a lot of different things is just unlocks things for us when it comes to a schematic standpoint. And we're able to add really good football players. That's the key. All the guys we added have had success in this league. They've done it for a while. So excited to see what those guys bring to our team.
Pretty generic there, but it does seem like they like what they've done on the D-line. It seems they like that. And we'll hear him talk about the Malik Collins trade as well. But it does seem like DeMeco likes what they did on the D-line specifically.
Into Joe Mixon trade.
Yeah, with Mixon, we were looking to add a running back, same, right? We're looking to add depth. We're looking to add a playmaker at that position, and feel like Joe is the guy who's done it for a long time in this league. He's been very consistent. Going against him for multiple times, like he's a very physical runner, and he does a great job of protecting the ball. So does a great job in the passing game, just all around back. So be able to add him to our team, I think it helps our offense.
Don't you think they still need another back? I talked about this today on Sports Radio 610. I think Mixon is an upgrade. I still think they need to add another back, but that doesn't mean that they need to get rid of Dameon Pierce. I think having 3 or 4 running backs that can make plays is important. I actually asked the question today, and I want to ask you all this. Appreciate everyone for coming through. It is the Locker Room, #1 source for Texans daily digital content. John Harris will join me. There will be a draft extravaganza with John Harris. We'll have multiple hours with John Harris. That's my boy. I text him on the reg. He's a busy guy, but you have my word. We will have a John Harris draft special once it gets closer to that time. I'm thinking like mid-April. I'll actually text him tomorrow to set that up, but he will be down. So y'all have my promise that I will have John Harris on here for an hour and a half, 2 hours, 100%. But I think they need more running backs. But I asked the question, do you think that Dameon Pierce, would you be more surprised if Dameon Pierce is a contributing back next year or if he's not on the team? I could see either happening, but I think the difference between the situation Damian Harris is in and the situation other running backs could find themselves in a situation like this is, I know Deontay Foreman. I knew his dad. Rest in peace to Day Foreman, Derek. And we had Deontay in studio a couple of times. And I always admired the young man. I do think that Bill O'Brien was not the right coach for him. And I do think that had he had the right coach, he probably could have had some success with the Texans. But I also don't think that Deontay, and he'll tell you this himself, I don't think Deontay was really ready from a mature standpoint to take criticism that at times was justified but Dameon Pierce is. And Dameon Pierce seems to be taking this as a learning lesson. And, he's talking about bouncing back. He's saying this is one of the best years of his career. He's a positive dude. Hell, you saw him return the kick last year. It wasn't a fit this year, but I would not be surprised if Dameon Pierce is some sort of contributor. I do still think you add another back, and maybe it's a back better than Dameon Pierce, but in some way, shape, or form, I'm not dismissing Dameon Pierce contributing in some way, because he has the attitude that you need way earlier than a lot of us would at this point in his career. So that's just kind of where I'm at with that. Mab says trade Dameon Pierce and a pick and get a higher pick. I don't know that he has a lot of trade value. I think if you're trading Dameon Pierce, it's a day 3 pick, and I don't know that you're going to get a lot on that. So we'll see what goes down with that. But here's more from DeMeco Ryans at the owners meetings.
Dropping down from 23 to 42. The thought process.
Talking about the draft trade here. I like this.
Behind, moving back, in the draft is just, we feel like in this draft there's a large amount of players right in that second to third, fourth round. It's a lot of guys right there that can come in and help our team. Right, we feel like that's where as I said, the sweet spot of the draft is this year, and so we're excited about that move, and we feel like we can add some really quality players to our team.
And that's the mindset I hope they follow up on. I don't want to see a trade back into the first round, because for me, that would make them look a little bit silly. Now, we could do the math after the fact, and let's say you trade a second and a third and you get up to the first. You can then sell the overall trade, which brought the second this year and the second next year and the late round pick swap for a first. You can justify it and say, well, basically we did a second and third round pick swap. If you do that. But for me, if you like a player that much, what's the hurry? I like what DeMeco's saying there. It would make the most sense. And I also think there's a risk factor of it, where if you're risking losing a player that perhaps you like that much, I just don't. I side more with DeMeco and Caserio in that they're happy where they're at, because if you trade up to 26 to get someone that you really liked, was it really worth the risk? I guess you would have to do the math afterwards and figure it out. But yeah, here is more from DeMeco.
Chase disease last year, ended up on the Titans, playing against you guys, ironically, and then this year you're able to snag him. What does he kind of bring to the table, and how nice is it to have that familiarity with him from San Francisco?
Yeah, Azeez is going to bring a physical style of play to our defense. He's going to bring leadership. He had a really great season last year with the Titans, so seeing him 2 times a year, it was you could see the growth that he made as a player. He played a lot of snaps for them. Last year he was healthy, so we're looking for him to just bring the same thing, bring that intensity, bring his leadership to our team, and just be himself and help us to be better.
Same thing kind of with DeMeco Autry. You played against him a little bit. Yeah. Nick was pretty excited about Autry. He said, he's the type of guy you.
In case you haven't heard, this was Nick Caserio on DeMeco Autry.
I would say specific to DeMeco, this guy's a badass. This guy's a junkyard dog. Like, if you go into a dark alley, like, you want this guy behind you. Like, this is a bad MFer. And a really good football player who cares about football. And we've had to play against him over the last couple of years, and, Tennessee, and then he was in Indianapolis, but glad he's on our side. And, we're excited about what potentially he could bring to our front.
Let's see if DeMeco likes him as much. This was Stoots with the question.
Bring him into the back alley with you.
Yeah, no doubt. If you watch the tape, Autry is a great football player. He loves football. You can tell it just by watching his tape, and the respect that he has around the league, not only from offensive linemen but also other defensive linemen. Understand his play style and how effective he is as a player, playing inside, playing outside. He gets it done. So excited to add, his relentless mindset to our team.
What makes Danielle Hunter unique? Obviously, he's an accomplished rusher. He's also.
Let's hear him talk about Danielle Hunter. This is Aaron Wilson with the question.
For his size.
Yeah, Danielle's definitely a big guy, but he has the length. I think that's what sets you apart as a pass rusher. Danielle's length and his ability to consistently, get after the quarterback. He's had double-digit sacks multiple times in his career, and we're looking for him to add constant pressure on the quarterback. And I know Danielle is excited to be back home in Houston. We're excited to have him here in Houston because, not too many times, not often you get to play in front of your family, your old high school. Like, a lot of people will be rooting for Daniil, so we're happy to have a Houstonian back playing for the Texans.
What kind of went into, you got traded for Mixon, what kind of went into extending him? He wasn't in the last year of his deal, so what was kind of behind, thought process behind
Extending Mixon.
Yeah,
That's a good
same
question.
there, I mean, adding a great player to our team and wanted to, we knew we had to fix the contract, and that was the same situation there in Cincinnati. So when you can add a great player to your team, I think he's deserved what he's gotten, and that's all the guys, their contracts, they deserve what they've gotten. They've shown it on film, and that's the result of him being a consistent player in this league.
Why did y'all end up trading Malik Collins? And you feel like
Why did you trade Malik Collins? Let's hear this.
Yeah, we'll continue to, look to add to our defensive line as much as we can. Not easy. Losing Malik was a good player for us, did a lot of good things for us last year, and I know he'll do a great job out in San Francisco.
I really don't think he liked Malik Collins as much as a lot of people like Malik Collins. I think it goes back to, and you can say I'm just pulling something out of nowhere. You can say I'm actually like talking to whoever. All I'm saying is remember when JJ on the back end was getting criticized for not playing within things. It's one thing for JJ Watt to the extra spinning, not staying in the lane. I think they like Malik, and Malik gave you 3 solid years. But I don't know that DeMeco Ryans liked him as much as maybe it seems like a lot of people liked him. I mean, he's a lot. I mean, it's not the end of the world. I just think that I don't think that DeMeco Ryans liked him as much as a lot of people think that he's liked, especially for what they would have been paying for him. That's just my opinion, and that's what I think DeMeco thinks.
Wide receiver, Keenan Allen, you guys saw an opportunity there. You kind of mauled in that, and then ultimately.
Dude, shout out for Aaron Wilson for asking about the Keenan Allen thing, man. And props to the whole media circle here. It's amazing when you got people out there that are actually putting out content and not just trying to hear themselves talk, asking these questions. This is a nice flow of questions. This is the Keenan Allen and the wide receiver position.
They did it with the Bears, but just that thought about the receiver position, as far as wanting to always look for more weapons.
Yeah, with that, as I speak about our entire team, like I want to upgrade our entire team and continue to get better, and I think that's what you have to do each and every year. So every year we'll be trying to upgrade, we'll try to get better, and try to find guys that help our team. A lot of things are talked about that are discussed that may get reported, but we're looking to add to our team. Sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. So we'll continue to do that.
With the two corners, so Kuda and Henderson.
This is Stoots on the corners. They added another one today. We'll get into that before we exit on the news and notes. But he's going to talk about Okudah and Henderson here.
Draft class. I've been on a couple teams now. What's kind of the thought process there? Is that just, hey, we see something, we trust our staff, we're going to get in and dig in on these guys?
With the two corners, I see young players, right? Young, talented guys who, for wherever they were picked, it really doesn't matter to me. I see young, talented guys on tape, long guys who can run, who can play sticky coverage. You just have to be more consistent. And sometimes guys just need a new scene, right? Hopefully, change of scenery helps these guys out. But it's adding those guys we just talked about. Man, you want to come in and compete. So his competition, and that both guys understand that, and as much healthy competition as we can have on our roster, that means we're getting better. If our depth is getting better, we have guys actually competing for spots, and our team gets better.
The moves you guys have made have been well received publicly. Now
This is DJB. Shout out to DJB.
How do you guys go about, handling?
Talking about handling expectations and getting praise.
We don't discuss those expectations. For us, it's about getting better every single day, and that my process doesn't change. My mindset, our expectation doesn't change. If each guy is focused on himself, they're focused on getting a little bit better each and every day, each and every week, then we'll be exactly where we need to be. The expectations from the outside really doesn't matter because of the expectations we put on ourselves. That's what matters the most. And no one is more critical of us than we are. Mm-hmm. And I want our players to feel that same thing, our coaches to feel the same thing. Are you striving to be the best in the NFL? If you're striving to be the best, then we'll be where we need to be.
You all ended up. Well, let me ask you this first because that question slipped my mind. Sorry.
This is going to be about Cal McNair getting the squad.
The NFL owners are expected to vote Cal to be principal owner. How has he been for you all in this organization?
Yeah, Cal has been outstanding to work with. Him and Hannah both. What I always loved about the organization is that family environment. And Cal has been great to work with. Him working with myself and Nick. It's just awesome owners, and it's great to work for great owners, great people, right, who truly care about the players, they care about the people working in the organization, and that's what I think sets them apart. It's just their heart. They're really very genuine. They love football. They love to win. They're passionate about it, and we are as well. So it's easy to work together.
Have you kind of felt like this offseason the team's turned into a bit of a destination
question from Stoots.
In previous years, it worked out financially, okay, but the success the team has had, you kind of heard that from players, and I know there's players publicly talking about they love to play for the Texans. Like, you kind of felt like you guys have turned into a destination for players?
Yeah. For us, it's about adding the right guys. So if guys want to play for us, that's great. But it's about adding the right guys to our team. I guess it's cool to hear that guys would like to come and play for us, but you also have to understand we're going to work here, right? It's going to be tough working out in the Houston heat. Guys understand that, but I think the excitement from guys wanting to come to Houston, it comes from our young players, CJ, Will, Tank, what those guys were able to do last year. I think people see that from the outside, and they see the talent that these young guys have, and they want to be a part of it.
Do you have an update on how Tank and Titus Howard and some other guys
Update on Tank and Titus.
surgery type deals?
Yeah, Tank is doing really well. He's progressing well. He's on track. We should have Tank participating in our offseason program. Titus as well. Titus is recovering. He's doing well. Hopefully get him back in training camp.
From going into year two,
This is good. So DJ asks him about personal evaluation and adjustments. In other words, it was a great year, but you got to adjust. What adjustments do you feel you should make?
As the evaluation process goes, right, it's really great when you step away from it and we're able to go back and watch our self-scouts, watch our tape, and just look at it with clean eyes. Right? Now you're looking at a lot of free agents, looking at a lot of drafts. So it's clean eyes as we watch our scheme and see where we can improve, where we can be better as coaches, and we can definitely improve in a lot of areas. Right? We can teach it better. We can make sure our players understand what we're asking them to do. And continue to add the right talent, the right guys to our locker room that will be a part of us winning. But it all starts with just not for me. I always tell our guys I don't have all the answers. So I always look at myself and I'm always trying to get better. Let's talk about expectations, all those things. It's all about, man, how can I improve as well? So I'm studying it and seeing where I can help our guys be better. And if we all make those adjustments, players, coaches, all our staff, like our team will be better this year.
Still a couple more. You briefly touched on this earlier, but you guys added obviously some great pieces with Aziz and Neil, but you also lost some good pieces. So
Talking about the pieces that they lost.
These particular pieces that you add allow you to do better because you all seem to be a little bit more targeted.
How do you get better with the pieces you lost combined with the pieces you added?
We're just looking to play better sound football, trying to play dominant defense. I think if you want to win in this league, you want to be successful in the playoffs, right, you got to go and stop some pretty good quarterbacks. So that's where the defensive line comes into play. We have to have multiple guys who can get it done up front, and that was kind of our emphasis going into free agency.
What goes into your role in the draft process? Does the scouting department bring you guys, or are you just pouring over
What's the draft
guys
process
that you
role?
like?
DeMeco?
Is there a list you work off of? Like, where do you fit in the scouting process and the draft pick?
Throughout the draft process, I'm combing through all the prospects, as many as I can. So I'm going through. I go by position, and I watch all the guys as I can in the position. Try to rank guys and see target guys that I like as I watch them on tape and see who fits us schematically It's a lot. Sometimes coaches are bringing guys to me. Hey, check this guy out. Scouts. So it's a lot of different people are throwing players at me to put my eyes on. But it's a lot of great help if they get to do well in the draft. It doesn't work without our scouting department. They do so much of the background work before we even have a chance to look at the college guys, where they set us up for success about all of the detailed work that they do, going to the schools, visits, like making sure they have all the information that we need to make sure we understand who we're bringing into our building. So the credit goes to Lipford, the scouting department, for what they do. Yes, they do an outstanding job.
Your second free agency with Nick, what's your collaboration like with him? And
Collaboration
what is
with
your
Nick
role
on
when it
free
comes to
agency.
saying,
I think
hey,
this can be a wrap
this is a
after
guy
this.
that I watch the tape on. If the money, he does that, if it works, I really like this player. How does that interaction go? What did you think of how he did in free agency?
Yeah, me and Nick, we're talking every day. Players, we were meeting every morning. We're discussing players. So no decision is made without myself and Nick working together on that, on who we're bringing in. And it works out well when we both kind of see the same players in the same light, and we know what we're looking for, and we see football the same way. So that makes it a lot easier when you're working with someone, Nick's just experience and his background. He's done it for a long time. He's scouted a ton of players, and so having him to lean on has definitely been helpful to me throughout this process.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans. Shout out to Cody Stoots. Shout out to the media for doing their thing out there. That's DeMeco Ryans. Interesting. I do hope that the draft plan is what he's saying and what Caserio is saying. I don't want to trade back into the first. I kind of just want to chill. I want to hang out. I want to localize what's going on, what other teams are doing. That's what I want to do for this draft. And then I want to see what they can do on day 2. They've done some damage on day 2. That's what I want to see. Tavondre Sweat seems to be one of the most popular names being brought up. Is he a system fit? Look, I watched him play every snap at Texas. I'm not I don't pretend to be system fit guy. I'm not one of these guys on the internet that watches highlights and then acts like I'm watching actual tape. I'll ask John Harris, and I promise y'all I'll set up this John Harris visit after I get off. I'll try to get him on at least in the middle of April or something like that. And we'll chop up. We'll call it like Draft-a-Palooza or whatever. And I'll get the Stoots stuff going. But I think he's a really good player. I think some people would say kind of a 2-down guy. I think they could use someone like that. And I don't necessarily think he's as bad of a pass rusher as maybe people would think just by going by his body. But it is good to hear from DeMeco Ryans. I saw someone said, I think it was Johnny, that it's nice to have an actual human as a coach. I guess you weren't satisfied with David Culley, Bill O'Brien, and Lovie Smith. So yeah, we'll see what's up. Yeah, it is funny. There is not much of a crowd around DeMeco Ryans. Look, a lot of that's a local thing. The Athletic, they don't have someone covering the Texans. The Chronicle, they've just been a complete disaster. They fumbled everything. They couldn't keep Brooks Cabina. They let a local guy who's as good of a beat guy as you could have get away. Hell, they did that on baseball too with Chandler Rome. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things. And plus the Cougs are in the Sweet 16. So there's that. But yeah, hopefully we get to that point where there's some better coverage. I'm not going to lie. I have a dream that the Chronicle covers or that the Athletic starts to cover the Texans. And they bring back Brooks Cabina and treat him like the true number 1 beat writer that he is, which is something the Chronicle did not do. Maybe too much information, but that's what you get when you get in here. They completely fumbled letting Brooks Cabina move in town and then end up in Philadelphia. Piss poor effort by the Chronicle. I'm sorry, it was. Brandon Hallam says, need a new backup tight end in this draft too. I would agree. I think Caserio would agree as well. He's kind of spoken on the reality of that situation. He's brought it up a couple of times. They need tight ends that can block. I could see, I think perhaps one tight end is going day one. I think we can agree on that. And then there's going to be opportunities. Who do they like? What do they like? All that. I could easily see a situation where they take a tight end on day 2, damn sure day 3. I think they're going to definitely take one in this draft. So I would 100% agree with that. RK Ruthless, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Thank you, man. That would be good. Do that for Stoots as well. And shout out to him for the bread. Yeah, there's not going to be a tight end on day 1. But I do think Bowers is going to go first round. You don't think Bowers is going to go first round, Joe? I would probably say yes. That happens. Yeah, you forgot Bowers. You damn sure did, my friend. Someone says, I saw your BFF at the Cougs game last night, Landry. I assume you're talking about Jack Easterby. Back in the mix, former Texans POS, person of service. Man, I know he has different relationship with Buzz Williams back when he did that Greatest Champion foundation. He was kind of cool with Buzz Williams, so they have that connection. Look, he was the biggest slime ball scumbag when he was here, and that's not secondhand. I've had encounters with him. I had an encounter where I've actually talked about it on the channel where I kind of called him on some of his BS. From players to front office to people who work in the building, they all know what a bad guy he was. I've had people who work in that building come up to me and thank me. I'm not exaggerating. That's on God. That's on my daughter. Thank me for being transparent about what was going on there, because the reality is, as the flagship station, we could easily just kiss the ass and not do it, but I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the mirror without that. And I know Lopez, you can say whatever you want about Lopez. Lopez can't do that either. And this guy was an absolute scumbag, lowlife, POS, slime ball with the stuff he did behind the scenes, the way he manipulated the gospel, the way that he sociopathically lied, the way that he was willing to throw Cal McNair under the bus to people. I've told the story 100 times just about the encounter that I had in front of a bunch of media people and just how disgusting it was, from saying that Andre Johnson needed him to not being able to speak for himself. The guy was a joke. But again, different people have different relationships with people. And look, the people in New England, Buzz Williams, they have a different relationship, but there is no denying what an absolute scumbag he was. I normally let y'all just talk in the comments and then I'll go through what I go through, but there appears to be, I think Thomas has been talking. We've been on for what, 28 minutes ish. J-Rock bringing up the pants. Yeah, Jack Easterby pants story, man. I made fun of him so much about that. You can go back, just type in Jack Easterby on my thing, and you can get like the whole dinner. He probably told about 15 lies there. Thomas seems to not like Joe Mixon. He's been arguing about Joe Mixon for 30 minutes. What are we what are we talking about with this? Why do you hate Joe Mixon so much? I don't get this. Of all the things to complain about, Thomas is all over Mixon. It's been a 30-minute like ramble about Mixon. Everything from I don't know what's going on, man. I'm trying to figure that out. I didn't know this was like a big situation. I didn't even know, like, of all the things that they've done, I didn't know this was that controversial. But this is the rules. I don't know if Thomas is new here or not. But you're kind of just spamming it with nothing. So I'm gonna have to put your nose in the corner, my friend. That's a lot. You're not banned. You just got to put that nose in the corner, man. Little slap on the booty, let you go. Figure that out. Time out, bro. You know what it is. Time out. Other news for the Texans signed Miles Bryant, 4 years with New England, kind of a slot guy. I don't know what the plan is here. Maybe they're gonna, try to figure out what they can do with him and Des King at corner right now. I don't know if there's just like heavy evaluation where they really, really like these guys. I don't know if they're just bringing in bodies and trying to create competition. I don't know if it's both, but I mean, it's not the moves I think are interesting. I don't think they're the craziest things. We've seen moves like these work. They obviously feel that they have a number one guy in Derek Stingley on the other side. And quite frankly, on the market, perhaps if you're worried, you can probably bring in a veteran later on in the process. But I will say, I don't look at these moves and like feel awesome about the cornerback situation. Is that fair? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, Okuda sucks because he was a top 3 pick. Henderson sucks because he was a top 10 pick. And, this guy's this and this guy's that. But I don't think I wouldn't dismiss the possibility of these moves paying off and them being okay at corner. I wouldn't completely dismiss it, but I wouldn't. I think if you feel good about it, it might just be in blind faith. And maybe this front office in a short time has gained your blind faith. I'm not telling you how to feel. I'm just saying, me personally, I don't know what this is going to look like. I think at training camp, when we're at training camp and we broadcast right on the side field, so we have the best view that there is in the Loop Sports Radio 610 10 to 2, Odyssey app, YouTube, all that. I'm going to be watching the corners. I mean, especially if this holds up. I mean, we're going to have to be watching the corners. So I don't feel terrible. I just intrigued. We'll see how it looks. Do we need another safety? I don't. Probably. I mean, I wouldn't dismiss it. I know they like Jalen Petrie. They say good things about him, but if you bring in another safety, it doesn't mean you're getting rid of him. I agree on the offense. They need offense. I think they know that too. They try to get Keenan Allen. So we'll see how that goes. It'll be an interesting offseason to say the least. It's nice to hear from DeMeco Ryans, no doubt. Shout out to everyone for coming through. It's that part of the offseason. I don't think it's a lull, but I think right now this is kind of the quiet time. But once it gets to April, then it's draft month. Then we finally figure some stuff out. Turbo Duran, I don't know what the hell you're doing with all these emojis, bro. That's a timeout at the very least. Goodness gracious. I don't know what the hell you're doing, brother. Can't rely on Ward. I would agree with that. I think he would probably agree with that. We'll see what's going on there. Appreciate you for coming through. DeMeco Ryan speaks. DeMeco says some interesting things. And the Texans sign another corner. Little bit concerned about corner. Thomas right back out of timeout. Still talking about Joe Mixon. Goodness gracious, Thomas. Did you not learn your lesson? Appreciate y'all for coming through. Subscribe, like, right along. Thomas, it'll be all right. We'll see what happens with Joe Mixon, but thanks for coming through regardless. Just be sure to like to justify whatever the hell you had going on today. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Talk to you at 10 a.m. Sports Radio 610.
Hey, locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk.